We live in strange times, and I say this because our problems have evolved so much compared to our ancestors. Life, by and large, has never been easier. If you're watching this video, then you have a roof above your head, you have food to eat, and you have clothing on your back. Our basic survival needs have been met. Unlike our ancestors, who every day were worried about making sure they had enough food, making sure they had firewood to stay warm at night, and making sure that there weren't any predators lurking in their nearby area so they could safely go in and out of the home. Very different, right? But paradoxically, we live in a time where more people are lost, confused, and simply don't know what to do with their time. It's interesting because we now have what is called leisure time. We can engage in hobbies, we can spend time with friends or family, we can do things we probably shouldn't be doing. And this happens within the hours outside of our day-to-day obligations, like jobs, like appointments, like taking care of loved ones. It's funny because if we go back a few hundred years, our ancestors didn't have the same kind of leisure time as we do. Sure, they could enjoy hobbies, but things just weren't the same because most of their day-to-day activities were focused around surviving. This is what life was all about. Getting through the day to the next day. Now, with so much free time on our hands, many people find themselves getting caught up in these destructive, negative patterns that ultimately harm their lives in the long term. This could be binge eating, binge drinking, spending time with people we shouldn't be spending time with. The list goes on and on and on. When I graduated from university, I found myself in a very strange place because I was living back home with my parents and I was doing the basic things. I was working full time. I was going to the gym. I was maybe seeing my friends once a week, but that was more like once every other week or once every 3 weeks. Aside from that, my life was repetitive. It was monotonous. I'd watch TV, have a family dinner, talk with my parents, my sister, maybe go for a walk, and then nothing, honestly. Truth is, I was feeling a bit lost. I didn't know why this was for the longest time. But then I realized one day I'd spent the last 3 to 4 years learning new things, applying this knowledge to my writing, creating projects, working in research labs. And now, all of a sudden, after graduation day, I had none of that. I realized how screwed up the school system was and how it set many of us up for failure in the long term. Here's what I mean. Much education today is monumentally ineffective. All too often, we are giving young people cut flowers when we should be teaching them to grow their plants. John W. Gardner. Growing up, school came easy to me. I rarely ever studied. I did my homework the day it was due in the morning. And when it came to engaging in class, I knew how to engage just enough to be on the teacher's good side. And everybody liked me. All in all, I had a good experience. I did well. But looking back on my elementary, middle, high school years, aside from basic arithmetic, basic biology, basic history, basic writing skills, I can't say there was much I really learned at all. I'm not gonna lie. And maybe that's just me looking back and not remembering, but I don't think I'm the only one who's experienced this as well. And I think the main reason why this is because school told us what to learn, why it's important, and how to solve it. Now, of course, when you're a little kid, it's important to have some direction, some guidance. But in telling kids what to learn, why it's important, and showing them how to solve it, you're effectively telling kids, you're teaching them that You need to be told what to do moving forward. Now, of course, kids in school need guidance. They need support. They need a leader to show them, hey, here's what we're doing. But the problem with the public school system that I experienced was that it made me hate learning. I absolutely hated learning because all my time in school was spent focusing on these topics that didn't really mean all that much to me at all. All right? These ridiculous algebra equations, studying the clouds and why they look the way they do, reading fabricated information on history that wasn't even true. These are things that teachers threw at us consistently, year after year after year. And when it came time to solving the problems, we'd have to follow this particular equation. When it came time to writing an essay, you have to follow this 5x5 MLA format in writing it. You had to answer this specific, rigid prompt. Our grades were based on memorization and ability to follow directions, not on true understanding. And this, to bring things full circle, made me hate learning. So, at 22 years old, a number of years back, fresh out of university, all my life I had been told what to learn, why it's important, and how to solve it. Now, at this point, I had nobody telling me that. No direction, nobody saying, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should try this. Here's why you should do this. Here's how to do this. It was just me. And this is why I felt so lost. Learning new things, trying new skills, and creatively solving problems is how we evolve as humans. It's how society has been built up to the point it is now. But the modern day school system, which has been in place for about 150 years, give or take, has made people absolutely hate learning. And then when they graduate high school or college, they get to be in the same position as I was in, unsure what to do with their time. So we distract ourselves. We indulge in things we shouldn't indulge in. We hang out around people we shouldn't hang out around. Learning is so important, but the older I get, the more I realize that most people stop learning after graduation day. And when people stop learning, they stop trying new things. And when people stop trying new things, life becomes stagnant. Life becomes repetitive, monotonous. And then you have a bigger problem on your hands. So going back to the story I mentioned before, what helped me realize what I should spend my time learning was this one simple thing, and that was meditation. I began meditation as a way to calm myself, as a way to develop this emotional control that I previously didn't have. But what I soon found out was that sitting in meditation, although it was a pathetic attempt at it for a while, gave me these creative insights and these unique ideas to pursue, which ultimately led me to this path of self-education. You might be wondering, okay, you're telling me to meditate. You're telling me to sit in silence. Didn't you say that in the last video? Yeah, that was something I did mention in the last video. But in this video, I'd like to share 3 things you can do to more effectively use your time outside of your day-to-day obligations, okay? So the first thing is the energy audit. At the end of each day, pull out a notebook, pull out the notes app on your phone, whatever, and assess how you felt after every major activity you did. So let's say you go to work from 9 to 5. How did you feel at the end of your shift? Let's say you went to the gym after work. How did you feel during that workout? Let's say you ate a big, unhealthy Kentucky Fried Chicken dinner. How did you feel after? Let's say maybe then you watched 2 hours of TV. How did you feel after? You might realize that the most enjoyable and pleasurable things actually leave you feeling drained And the more difficult things you do might actually leave you feeling more energized. Do this for about a week. And at the end, spend some time in reflection. Say, okay, which activities leave me feeling drained? And which activities leave me feeling energized? From there, you change your days, okay? You adjust your approach to going about every single day so you can have the most energy from morning until night. All right? Next, the perfect day visualization. Forget about practicality for a second here. If you could have the most perfect, optimal, amazing day of your life, what would it look like? Would you get up early? Would you sleep in late? Would you have a big lunch? Would you fast all day? Would you be outside, inside? Whatever it is. Again, take a notebook or the notes app on your phone and just write it out in great detail. The more specific, the better. What you'll realize is that much of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis right now isn't involved or has nothing to do with the perfect day you've written down. Okay? And from there, you make changes. Of course, if your perfect day is so far-fetched and nowhere close to what you can attain in the near future, then yeah, it's going to take some time to get there. Maybe you'll never get there. And maybe you won't be able to make those changes in your day based on what you want. But this is a stepping stone. We're just beginning here, okay? You can always take things further moving forward. But for now, start with the perfect day visualization just to gain some clarity. Number 3 is my favorite. It's what I like to call the skill pyramid. So the skill pyramid is very simple. At the bottom, well, first you want to draw yourself a pyramid, a triangle, and put 2 lines at the 1/3 mark and the 2/3 mark. At the bottom, you want to list out the 3 to 5 skills that you want to learn. So for example, I am working to become a better cook. I am working to build my body, get bigger muscles. I'm working to learn more about history, okay? So those are 3 things that I have at the bottom of my pyramid. In the middle, you have existing skills that you want to deepen. So for example, I'm trying to become a better communicator and a better writer. So in the middle of my pyramid, that middle section, that's where I have those 2 skills. And at the top, that is where you put your mastery skill, the one overarching thing you're trying to develop. This could be emotional control. This could be confidence. This could be improving upon your mood or the systems you live by every day. It should be something that has a broad meaning but can apply to all areas of your life. So what's the point of the skill pyramid? Why are we building it? How is listing out these things helpful? Reason being is because it gives you direction in what to learn in your free time. Okay, so let's say you go to school or you go to work, you go to the gym, you cook meals, you spend time with family, but in those 1 to 2 hours that you have, or those 5 to 6 hours, depending on your life situation, invest your attention in learning these skills. So if you're trying to be a better writer, spend 30 to 60 minutes every day writing. If you're trying to become a better communicator, spend time talking with strangers. If you're trying to learn more about history, read a damn book, all right? The main thing is getting clear on the skills you're trying to develop, getting clear on the topics you're trying to learn. So only then will you gain clarity on what it is you're trying to do with your life, okay? I'm not trying to give you advice on how to live your life, but these are things that have worked for me. And they've given me clarity. They have erased that hesitancy. They've essentially eliminated all of the time-wasting periods of my life that I have spent, okay? Of course, your goals evolve. your vision will evolve. And the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you experience, the bigger your ambition will get, or the bigger your perspectives will get at that matter. So this skill pyramid isn't stagnant. It should always be evolving, since you're always evolving. All right? So keep that in mind when building it. This was a bit of a random video. I won't lie. We were all over the place with my story and random perspectives and how the school system sucks and etc., etc. But the main takeaway is this. Unfulfillment comes from lack of clarity. Once you find clarity, you have direction. Once you have direction, you have action steps. And these are action steps you can take every single day to create that sense of fulfillment in your life. All right? So if you enjoyed this, be sure to tap like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, share it with a friend. You know the drill. All right? We'll talk soon.